We have
Abdullah, sorry, can you speak closer to the microphone? I cannot hear you, Abdullah.
we have Muhammad Abdurrahman al-Mukhlabi, Abdurrahman. He is Child Protection Program Assistant. We have Muhammad is Finance Officer. We have Samah. She is Meal Assistant. We have Ahmed, IT and HIS Officer.
Okay, thanks. I can see that Al-Akbari is there as well. So, Al-Akbari, who are you with? Are you on your own, or is there someone with you, Al-Akbari?
I have one question.
Sure.
I have sent you an email yesterday because we need translation.
Translation for?
Not from you, but we need the time to translate some.
Okay. No problem. So I will be very slowly.
If you need it, yeah.
Sure, I will be very slowly, and then when I ask, can we move on? You have to tell me, is it time to move on or not? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. Thanks. So who else are in the room? I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So I guess we can just start now. I will ask everybody to turn off the microphone first. So I will share my screen with everyone. Can you see my screen now? Yes? No? Okay. Let's wait for a bit. Maybe it's just slow. Yeah, it's very slow. Yeah. Can somebody turn on your microphone and just confirm if you've seen the PowerPoint presentation window?
Yes.
Okay.
It's clear.
Clear. Thank you. So again, welcome everybody. Maybe I should introduce again myself. My name is Wawan. I'm the partnership advisor that currently supporting the Yemen program. I'm based in Oslo at the moment, still waiting for my visa to actually go and be based in Sana'a in Yemen. Hopefully by November I will get the visa and able to support you guys on the ground directly. But so far I was just trying to think about how best I can still support the team with the long distance partnership. Yeah. So based on the conversation that I had with Jason and Mohammed Al-Shama, we decided that at the moment it's important to provide a guidance for the country team, for the team in the field offices as well, to understand how we can use partnership tools assessments. Yeah. I'm just wait for one moment so the translation can still going on. Is it? Can somebody tell me if I can move on after the translation?
Move on.
Move on. Okay, good. So yeah, so we decided to start with the partnership assessment tools, try to explain how to use it, who can use it. Although it's actually better that everyone understand first about what is partnership, why partnership important for Save the Children, and then who are the partners. Yeah. So those three questions, put that in mind, because I think we will need to do another session, maybe sometimes next week, to actually talking through the bigger picture about partnership in Save the Children. At the moment, we're only focusing on how to use the partnership tools assessment. But next week, we can discuss more about what is partnership, who's our partners, and what's our commitment at Save the Children with working with local organizations and national organizations. Yeah. So how to participate in this training? This is only 1 hour and it's very difficult because of the long distance and it's only an online training as well. So please stop me when you ask to clarify something. Please stop me if you have any question. Turn on the microphone and then raise the questions, because I'm not able to see the chat box at the moment. I'm looking at the PowerPoint presentation only. So when you have no questions, please just turn off your microphone. So just listen to what I'm saying. But then when you have questions, don't wait. Just turn on the microphone and ask me questions, or tell me to slow down. I'm okay with that. Yeah. And then at the end of the session, we will also have another question and answer, and that will be capturing all of your questions. This session will also be recorded, so I will share the recording at the end of the session later. Yeah, shall we move on then?
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So just to set up the objective, I want to ask everyone first, what is your objective to be part of this training? So I can actually try to navigate us through what is important for this training.
Okay, let me share. Can you hear me first?
I can hear you clearly. Hello? You're disappearing.
Yeah. Have you?
Can you speak closer to the microphone?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, about the objective of the training, what I'm expecting, maybe as a further objective for that, is that we know more about the procedures that we are following in terms of partnership here in Yemen country office. Like we should have like flowchart of procedures and responsibilities for each of the participant among those procedures,
Sure.
like field managers, partnership team.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, rules and responsibilities.
We call that RACI in Save the Children. It's supposed to be like a guidance on who's responsible, who's accountable, who's consulted, and who's informed. Yeah. Sadly, I will not gonna put that into this discussion today because we still have not even have the RACI for the Yemen program. It's something that I will still need to develop together with the Jason and Muhammad Al-Shama. But once it's finished, we can have a session for that. Yeah. What about the others? What's the
Yeah,
expectation?
sure.
Can I hear from the others? Other expectation?
Yes, our goal today is to review and to agree to some extent on the tools that can be used in the partner assessment.
Something we were going to discuss today, and I just saw an important one from Alarimi. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy that one and put it over here. Oh, it's going up here.
And there is from Muhammad ibn Abdurrahman, he said, we want to know the criteria for the selection criteria for partnership.
Okay. So I think with this objective, I could actually briefly explain about partnership in Save the Children. Who is our partners, how to be partners with them, what is our commitment as an organization working with local organizations in Yemen program. So, but again, like this session will specifically focusing on the how to use partnership tool assessment. Although I will still talk about what is partnership first, why we need partnership, who's our partners, but we will have deeper conversation about that most probably next week. Yeah. So I'm just going to move the slide. I'm just going to slow down a little bit, put another model on. Yeah. Can you see my slides? Yeah?
No.
Not yet. It's still loading.
Okay, yeah, it's loading.
Yeah, it's loading. That's fine. So this module that I'm going to present, it's called Module A. It's actually already online in the humanitarian curriculum. I will send you all the link later after the session, so you can go through this session again on your own, because this Module A is supposed to be an online training that you can do your own. You can just read and learn your own. So I advise everyone to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes to read them through later when you have time, probably this week. And then next week we can discuss about it thoroughly. Yeah? So can everybody see my screen at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Good. Okay. So, can anybody tell me why do we work with partners in humanitarian response? I'd like to hear more participatory from the ground. Why do you think we need to work with partners?
One said here because they help us.
Yeah.
To do our work well and efficient.
Yep, that's good. Another one?
So partnership, they have more access to in this society.
Yeah, perfect. Next.
They have experiences.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think also especially in crisis.
Yeah.
especially in crisis, they have access, they are near to the beneficiaries, and so in risk management, they are better than us.
Yeah, great. I hear someone else trying to say something. Yeah?
I think from my side, I think theoretically that partnership is considered as the core for theory of change which Save the Children believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in terms of sustainable development for the country itself, working with partnership is considered as a sustainable development for the country itself and its civil society organizations.
Correct. But then my other question is, what is our added value as Save the Children working with local and national organizations? Can I hear more?
Maybe it is capacity building for the partnership.
Mm-hmm. What kind of capacity building? What can we make difference? What difference can we make?
Okay, they recognize our policies and procedures and show more commitment and maybe reduce the fraud because we are clear policies about fraud and how deal with logistics or something like that.
Yeah, great. Because there are a lot of civil society organization that actually not equipped with a strong governance system. They don't have a strong financial management system. They don't have a strong logistical system. They don't have understanding towards what is child rights organization. They don't have strong understanding about how to do child safeguarding, how to do child protections, how to ensure children are protected during the humanitarian crisis. That's the moment when us as Save the Children can provide their support. Yeah, but then we have to see that partners and Save the Children are working hand in hand. We are shifting from what we called subcontracting. We're shifting from thinking about partners as implementing partners to partners as more strategic partnership. We're shifting to partnership more equal, to working with partners instead of working through partners. Do people understand about that differences between working with partners and working through partners?
Actually, working through partners is considered as implementation partner, who has to do our main objectives and our main indicators. And in terms of working with the partners, like having their objective and adopting their ambition and adopting their objectives and try helping them in terms of capacity building to achieve that commitment.
Fantastic. I think I don't need to have the session anymore. Everyone knows the answer for everything. I'm so happy.
No, we need that.
I'm so happy. That's very correct. That's very correct. Because when we're talking about working through partners, we actually see the transferring risk. The risk we transfer to partners. So we put ourselves on the top of the partnership level, which what we want to change now. We want to be side by side with partners. We want to work together with partners. We want to take the risk together with partners. So if partners cannot do implementation as planned, that's also because us, as Save the Children, we have not been supporting them enough to deliver the activities, to make sure the financial management is strong, to make sure there are people in partners organization that are able to shifting their organization, delivering the activities. So these are the differences when we talk about changing mindset, working through partners and working with partners. We are actually going to empower more and more equal relationship between us and the local and national organizations in the world as well as in Yemen. This is why Save the Children actually have a strong policy procedures about partnership. We also have a partnership working group, humanitarian partnership working group, to support the country team, to support the program team, to understand how, as an organization, we are able to do what we committed to do with putting partnership at the center of our theory of change. We're thinking further away. We're trying to be more sustainable in our programming. So we see that in the places like Syria, an example, or even sometimes in places like a disaster area where there have been a lot of disaster coming in, and as of the children, we can't quickly be there. But our local partners are there. So during the shocks, during the disasters, during the conflict, during the humanitarian crisis, the first responders are our partners. Now, to make them ready, what do we need to do as organizations, right? So we have a commitment of capacity strengthening, we have a commitment on make sure the partners have a strong governance system, have a strong policies on child protections, on fraud awareness, on everything that makes them as a strong organization. Yeah? Now, where do that come into the process of partnership? So there are, this already been discussed. This already quickly, and then so we have a let me just show if it's here. Yeah, here. So can everybody see my screen at the moment?
Yes, we can see that core humanitarian principles.
Yes, okay.
Is it now? It's actually partnership and humanitarian crossover documents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So in Save the Children, we have partnership standards. We have humanitarian policy and humanitarian standards. We have all these procedures that actually we're collecting all of them and put them into a document that we call Partnership Management in Humanitarian Response. I've sent the link already today together with the invitation, so everyone able to actually click that link and then access it. Yeah? That document is a very long document, but it's a very complete document. Inside of that document, there's a lot of stages on how to work with partners. You don't have to go through all of documents, you just have to know what you need from that document and click it, and you'll be directly directed to the tools. I really like the tools, it's very thorough, but then again, tools are there to support your need. So first find out what your need is, and then you can seek about the support you find in that tools. Is that clear? I will show you what the tools looks like. Yeah? One moment. Let me just close this. So this morning, I don't know if everybody received my update invitation. There's a link inside there with SharePoints. Yeah. Let me just quickly share that. Yeah. So this is a document. Let me just. Can everybody see my screen at the moment?
No, but it's still loading.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, we see it here.
Okay. So if you can't see my screen, I suggest you to open the invitation I sent again this morning, and there is a link I put over there, and you can open that link. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the BMCR. Yeah.
Yeah, PMCI, exactly. So that's basically the whole tools that we are using as Save the Children. Uh, it tells a lot of things about how to work with partners, what to work with partners, who is our partners. So what is the ideal partnership management humanitarian response? So this is when we're talking about the preparedness section. We're talking about what we will have to do in the first phase of emergency and what is the learning and transition at the end of the response. Yeah?
Yeah.
Again, like we will discuss this. I will try to put another invitation probably next week. We will discuss this thoroughly in how to use the all the tools we need in partnership cycle management. Yeah. But now today, because we only have 30 more minutes left, we will discuss specifically on how to use the partnership tools assessment. Yeah. I'm going to close this down and then move again to new one. I'm sorry about the delay. It's just difficult to do training online. Really difficult.
Yes, it is. And there are also the time it's 1 hour, so
yeah, I think we need to make it longer next time. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So we discussed about this. Is everyone already seeing my screen at the moment? Can I have someone to tell me?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, so we have already discussed why are we working with partners. We already discussed who do we consider as partners. Not thoroughly, but when we are working in humanitarian, there are specific partners and specific role we can work together with. Yeah. So we have inside the children, we call it strategic partnership. We also have implementing partners. We also have network and alliance. Yeah, so these three components are interlinked into each other. So when we say like, no, these partners A, they're our implementing partners only. No, it's never only. They always do other things that for us is either strategic, they can also be our network and alliance. So this is why I said every category of the partnership, we call it partnership, strategy partnership, we call it implementing partners, and we also call it network and alliance. They're all interlinked to each other. Now, who do we consider as partners? So there are partners that when we have to work together in the under the memorandum of understanding of how to work this together, there are partners that we call it contractual base or implementing partners. Yes, those partners, we need to go through vetting process, we need to go through award system to make sure that this partners is legal and able to work with us under financial restriction and management. Yeah, but there are also partners that for us is, well, we don't give them money, but we are working together, sharing resources to actually provide support to the children that are in needs in emergency. So we call them also partners, but we don't give them money, but they are still our partners. And when people ask us like, do you work together with partner B? Yes, we work with partner B. They are still our partners, although we don't give them any money. So partnership is very complex. Yeah, it's not only with anything related to money, but also related to how do we work together to achieve the same goal, to achieve the same objective of the response. Yeah, so this is why we need to start looking at the partnership as more than just contractual agreement. because it's actually wider than that. Yeah. Now, the next question is, how do we set up a new partnership that related to, in example, there's a call from UNICEF asking that Save the Children have to work with local partners in specific area for specific program. Then the question is, how do we set up a new partnership with this organization? I don't know how how Yemen program have EPP, Emergency Preparedness Plan yet. Do we know? Can I hear someone tell me about this? Do you have a EPP?
لا الآن نتكلم عن emergency partnership plan.
Yeah, emergency preparedness plan.
Preparedness plan or
preparedness.
Yeah, we have in the offices.
Do we have that in Yemen program?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Is partnership is inside of the preparedness plan? Can somebody tell me that?
Sorry?
Is partnership, the list of partners, the current partners we're working with, are inside of the emergency preparedness plan?
As headlines, I mean, yes, but in general, there is no like specific details.
Okay. So that's something that we need to work on, because as we all know, Yemen program is a protracted crisis. So it's been a crisis that keep coming back on and on and on. So we actually need to strengthen our preparedness plan and make sure that the partners is actually inside of that plan as well. The partners here, we're talking about either the database of partners, either how to work with partners, and also the ways of working with partners. That's what I mentioned earlier about RACI, who's responsible, who's accountable, who's consulted, and who's informed about the whole partnership decision-making process. Yeah, this RACI is not yet developed for Yemen program. Something that I will work on with Muhammad Al-Shama and Jason before next week. We'll have to come up with a draft for that. Okay, so with that situation, the request from UNICEF, an example, asking for us working with partners if we have an EPP, if we have a strong EPP that has a partners inside, we will need to just look at the EPP to see where are the location of we are going to work with this UNICEF, an example. Who are the partners around that area that has capacity working in specific program. But this is when the previous partnership advisor, Faisal, actually conducted the expression of interest. Those expression of interest should be part of the EPP. Yeah. So all the list of expression of interest should be exactly being an annex in the EPP. So if there's any request, we can always refer to the EPP document, and we have that inside of the EPP document. The question is, what if we are asked to do a new partnership with local partners in the location that is not listed in our EPP location? We need to find new partners. Can I have someone to try to answer that question? So, yeah.
Do you mean, Wawan, sorry for that question. So, do you mean about having a remotely management partnership or something, like in a place that the children has no office?
That could be, and also where we don't have any partners and we have to find a new partner. How would you do that? Okay. Yeah, I want to hear.
Actually, it's now followed as a spontaneous practices among stakeholders and governmental entities, but it's not like you can't say it's a formal partnership with them. it's kind of being a relationship between program team and stakeholders over that area.
Yep, that's
That's
good.
the way. That's the way it's conducted now. I
Okay.
mean, if we can organize it or make it like formal partnership and something like that, this is something going to be something good in terms of EPP and
Yeah,
in terms of emergency.
fantastic.
That yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good answer for this situation because there are times when we don't have the enough resources to actually conduct another expression of interest, right? So what do we do when that situation happens? When we need to find new partners in in the new location, when we don't have enough resources or time to do the expression of interest? The answer is we just have to do it again. We just have to do first, yeah. We discussed about this already. Yeah. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to set criteria of what partners do you want to work with. Yeah. We also need to start looking at the options in the area. We're talking to the cluster team. We're talking to our members. We're talking to because SEI have a lot of members, right? SEI have members like, especially in Norway, where I'm working at the moment. We may have partners that used to work for us in different area that you can also work with because we have gone through all this vetting process and everything. So it's important to actually get information from the members, get information from the cluster, get information from the current partners you have, if they know any good organization working in that area. Yeah. And then also it's good to talk to other INGOs, because I'm sure in places like Yemen, there's a lot of other INGOs around that also working with partners. So they may have recommendation on which partners would be good to delivering such and such activities in such and such area. Yeah. So use those channel to talk to people, get the contacts, put a simple database of the name of organization, contact person, what their priority and expertise, where do they work. Simple, but that will help you to actually gathering all the names of the new partners, new potential partners in the specific location you're working with. Yeah, and then what's next after that? That's the question. So this is when we are talking about the partnership assessment tools. This is when it's actually useful. Yeah. So after you have those database, the simple database, you set up a meeting with them. I think this is the role of the partnership focal point if you have one. If you don't have one, it should be either the program team lead or the field managers to actually initiate the conversation with the potential partners and go through the assessment process. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is when you actually the lead. There should be a lead of the process that either can be field managers or partnership focal point or appointed person from field managers.
Sorry, Wawan.
Yes.
Here I have a.
Go for it.
You mean by setting up a meeting with the partners during the emergency preparedness plan? I mean, before an emergency happened, right?
Can be during, can be before, can be whenever you need to start the partnership with.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is when I put a scenario on like this is a very rapid emergency happen. There's a cholera outbreak happen in one of the field office, and then you need to find new partners because it's requested by UNICEF. Example like that. So and then you don't have any partners in that area. So to do the shortcut, you don't need to do the expression of interest anymore, but all you have to do is just doing that triangulation, looking for information on who are the partners working in this area through clusters, through statutory members, through triangulation with different INGOs, through your current partners as well, to get all of the information about who are the partners in this area. And after that, the lead of this partnership assessment, that can be field managers or partnership focal point, or the person that formally appointed by the field managers to lead a team of 3. There would be 1 partnership managers, partnership focal point, technical advisor or program team or sector team, and then finance or award person. This team will be the one who go and deliver the partnership assessment to the partners. But the lead should be the one who organized the meeting with the partners. And then what I'm suggesting is, prior to the visit, the partnership assessment lead focal point, during the conversation with partners through phones or through emails, requesting what documents are needed for the assessment. So by the time you arrive at the office of your partners, they will have all the documents ready, and they will have the right people to be sitting in the assessment process ready. Because during the assessment, we will need either their program team and they're also their own finance manager as well, or finance focal point as well. Yeah, can I move on?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so and then during the process, the assessment process, there will be specific questions asked by specific person. Yeah, but remember, before you start the assessment, please make sure that the environment is equal. Give the partners opportunity to ask questions, and give the partners the opportunity to explain more, because there's no such thing as black and white. When you ask, like, do you have human rights? Do you respect human rights? How do you ask that question to partners, other than what do you see the equality in your organization? You know, you have to find a way to express it like that. Yeah. So we go to the first page. If anybody in your team at the moment can open the partnership assessment tools, and one person can just still open this training online, and then you can look at that assessment tools in front of you. Yeah.
Yeah, we had conducted before. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Our
Okay.
6 partners, I think. Yeah.
Good. So the first ribbon, the first sheet, it's called qualification. Yeah. So in that qualification, there's a lot of question that relate to the vetting of organization, the portfolio of organization, and questions also related to how they perceive themselves by others. Yeah. So there are also a question about social media or the media itself. How are they being perceived by others? So before you go to the assessment to them, this is something you need to do as a homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and those questions can be clarified. So this is why I think it's a discussion between you and partners instead of you doing assessment to partners. I would always say a discussion partnership instead of assessment partnership, because this will bring more equal relationship with partners. They were able to clarify what are being mentioned in media about them, and we can ask them openly with that attitude of this is just a discussion. It will not say yes or no about our being partners, but it's a discussion. Yeah. So if we go through on that page, let me just change my screen again. Yeah. Can somebody confirm if you've seen my screen now?
Still loading.
Okay. Well, it's basically the partnership assessment that I'm opening at the moment. So there are media. There was a qualification number 1.1 question about media. So this is when you actually talk to, well, no, this is when actually you access like a newspaper or social media or online media about these specific partners. What is inside of that? Is there something you think worrying, or is there something you want to dig further to understand why this organization perceived by others like that? You can put it over there and then put it as a question to your partners, potential partners, to discuss what do they think about that. Yeah. And then we go to the government, more like legality of this organization. That's 1.2. So you're questioning about, because it's very important to work, especially in Yemen, to work in the area where actually these partners are being recognized by the government, right? So you don't want to partners with organization that actually going to put the program in problem because of the government stopping the program. So there's supposed to be close relationship between working with the partners and the government. So key number 1.2 is also important. You can even ask them before you go to partners to prepare the registration document that you need to see before you go and do the assessment or discussion. Yeah. And the 1.3, that's what I said about the triangulation. This is you're asking maybe your current partners that actually know these potential partners. You can also ask the INGOs, the clusters. You can also ask their donors, because they always said like, oh, we are being funded by, let's say, UNFPA. So you can actually contact UNFPA and asking how is it working with this organization? Do you recommend us to work with them? If there are risks, can you share with us what the risks? So we need to mitigate the risk. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well,
Yeah.
let me have one question
Sure.
about the media.
Yeah.
Should we contact like a media, newspapers, TVs, or something like that?
No. You don't need to do that.
Okay.
What you need to do is just Google them. That's the easiest way I can do. Google them, Google their names, and see what shows in the media about them.
Okay.
Only that.
Okay.
Or if you have newspaper, go through newspaper if there's any information about them. But if there's no information about them, just say no. No information is concerning or worrying, and it's fine. Just empty that page. It's fine. Yeah. But we just need to. That's one of the vetting process to understand who are these organizations. But if that doesn't show in the Google either, just leave it blank. It's not mandatory. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's also important to ask from local community. So it's 1.4. We're talking with local community. How do they work in the community? So these are all homework that you can do before you go to partners.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Can I share my experience here?
sure, please do.
Yes. When we do the assessment for this partner, we ask them for. You are disconnected, right?
Yeah, you're okay. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, you can hear me. You can hear me. So we sent them. We sent the potential partners like a list of requirements we need, and one of the requirements provide the Facebook and social media pages that they are using, as well as we look at them. So we take this took this addresses of the social media like Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and then we inspect them and see if there's any post or there is red flags on it, and who is the admin of this page, and what's the content, all of the things, even also with the Google them with our research.
Yeah, That's a good idea. But remember, when we're working with partners, there's also weaker partners that actually don't have resources or people to manage their Facebook or social media. And when we choose partners, we should look at bigger. So even if they don't have Facebook account or Twitter or social media account, it shouldn't disqualify them to be our partners. Yeah. There are other ways to look at the capacity of partners. There are other ways to look how credible the partners are, and that's by not having those should not disqualify them to be our partners.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. It's
Okay.
very useful. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, you are right. It's only not just to see the red flag if they were raised.
Sure. But then it's also when we see a partners that has not been working with portfolio their organization, maybe that's actually our role to support them in capacity strengthening. Yeah, because when we're talking with partners, what do they need as an organization to be sustainable even after we're not working with them? Maybe one of them is actually by increase their portfolio, supporting them in their media work, working with social media to get their funding to them. Can be one option. But yes, it shouldn't disqualify them to be our partners, but it should be a discussion with them. Do they need that? Do they need the support from us? Okay? Shall I continue to the sheet number 2? Oh no, wait,
Yeah.
let's go to sheet number 1 first, because there is a lot of questions there. Qualification check questions, do you see that? Line 32, 1.5. Qualification, yeah? So these are questions that need a score. So if you click on this result, there is a button of yes and no. Yeah, so you can choose that if it's yes or if it's no. And the scoring system, if it's yes, is 1. If it's no, it's 0.
Yeah.
Now, this is also, not all of these questions you can ask partners directly, because maybe they don't even have the answer, but this is something that you need to also think about as a homework. An example, question 1.5. The question about, are they associated with proscribed groups? This is something you don't ask them, but you ask your list. Usually the person that have this answer is the award managers or in country or award managers in the regional office. So you have to talk to them and ask them if this organization is listed in the list of red flags or blacklisted partners by either USA, because they have a very strong list about who they shouldn't be working with, and the award manager in country and the regional office able to support you on this one. Yeah? And the second question is about, do the partners and staff respect human rights? This is a tough question. You cannot just ask that like that, but you can observe their answer from others. An example, you ask about maternity leave. You can ask, what do you think your organization do about maternity leave? Or also about, how do you pay your staff? Also about, do your staff have holidays? You know, things that you can observe and then see if they actually putting human rights. What about women and men recruitment into the organization? Are there differences? What do you think of women's staff? What do you think of men's staff? Do you think we need to support children? Do you think we need to get information from children? So all these questions that you just throw to them and observe how they respond to this question. And with that, you can choose, is it yes or no? The easiest way you can use is actually just ask them, do you sign the code of conduct from Red Cross? Or do you endorse the UNHCR code of conduct in human rights? Have you received any human rights training? Refugee rights training? Have you received child rights training? That's the easiest way to ask them as well, and they will probably say yes. But then you ask them again deeper question on when, how, can I see the document, things like that. Yeah, and then after that you can choose yes or no based on that.
Sorry, Wawan.
Yeah.
Can we compile some of those questions in the due diligence form that we send to the partner?
I think you can, yes. Again, like what I'm giving you is a suggestion, but then as your program, you have to come up with a more specific questions, yeah. And then I'm happy to help, of course, but at the moment I'm just giving a general suggestion. You will have to do it yourself to like break it down to detailed questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is the partner's political neutral. They will say yes, but in the reality, you hardly have any neutral NGOs or SCSO. Even Save the Children is not that neutral. This is a question about humanitarian principles. Like we know we have to be neutral, but there are always things that why we choose sides. So it's important to still ask that question and see how they respond to that questions. Yeah. So I think
it's challenging, and I think this is challenging in terms of asking them about being neutral or not.
Yeah.
But you can ask some of the questions that may guide you if they are politically neutral.
Exactly. So this is the importance of like understanding your question and then getting ready with your own breakdown question. Yeah. So these tools is there to help you once you understand what is needed, and then you just break down with your own questions. You find your own question that actually think that easier for them to answer and easier for you to understand and classify them as yes or no. Yeah. So I think that's just a sample of the sheet 1 qualification. We should continue to the next one because we are actually already past 1 hour. If that's okay with everyone, I'll take another 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's okay. Take half an hour. This
Half
is
an hour?
really, we get benefit of that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll take half an hour. I promise to be more precise and quick about this, and then after that we can, well, if it's not clear still, join another session next Monday because I still have the same session, exactly the same session on next Monday. So if you're not clear now, we can discuss it on next Monday. Yeah. So we go to the sheet number 2. This is a scope of work. Yeah. So the scope of work is more to understand the governance system of the organization. So very basic question. I think you can ask this even before you come to partners. Very, very specific. So you don't need to do a lot of things. Just send this detail, just copy and paste this detail, send it to partners, ask them to fill it in. That will be easy. And then the scope of work, you will need to do it as a homework before you go to partners, because there are questions that actually can only be answered by you as the children. Yeah, like the first question, the 2.1.
This should be. Sorry, Wawan.
Yes, go for it.
This should be filled by the program manager. I mean, he's the one who knows what he wants from the partners.
Exactly. So this is either program manager or the partnership focal point working closely with program managers. Yeah, because when we receive a call for proposal by UNICEF, an example, specifically on, let's say, child safeguarding or nutrition, specifically on nutrition, health and nutrition. So we know how much money is being allocated for these call for proposals. We know what is needed for these call for proposals. And that's when we here means the program manager or the partnership focal point can discuss with the program managers about that and fill this in. Yeah. The question you can throw to partners is, has the partner successfully managed a similar size award? The 2.1 or 2.2. Has the partners had experience with this specific donor? But remember, When their answer is no, it should not disqualify them to be our partners. Because let's be honest, only big organizations like international organizations, Save the Children, Mercy Corps, Oxfam, Action Control FM, are the ones that actually been given big award funding from donor. And the smaller organization, they are not, because they are smaller. And they have to go through us, the big organizations. So it should not be disqualified them, but it should be put in the risk mitigation. Yeah? So we know that they have never been working with, let's say, $5 million for a 1-year budget. Okay, so what is our responsibility as Save the Children, as their partners, to make sure they're able to absorb that $5 million and put them into planning budget and can able to spend them properly? That's our responsibility to work with them. So it should not disqualify them to be our partners. Yeah?
Yeah, it's more about risk management.
Exactly. It's a risk mitigation and risk management. So these questions on the scope of work on the sheet 2 is basically to understand who they are, have they experience working with specific project, have they have experience working with specific donor with the specific budget, and then all of this will refer to what risk mitigation we need to prepare, what mitigation measurement we need to put in place for these specific partners. Yeah? All right. If this is clear, because I think I cannot go one by one, but go for it. I think I would encourage everyone to go to these tools and go one by one. If you have a specific question, send me an email, and I put everything in the in one file, and I will share it with everyone again. Yeah? I think we just move on to the sheet number 3, organizational capacity. Yeah? So who's doing this question? Who's asking this question for sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3? Can somebody answer me?
Yeah, it's about
What I meant was from our side, from the team that consists of 3 people, because we have a team leader. In here can be the program manager or the field managers or party focal point, or the technical advisor or the finance or award person. Who should be asking the question of sheet 1, qualification, sheet 2, SOW, or sheet 3, organizational capacity?
I mean, it's the question should be asked by partnership focal point, as he will lead the process. But in terms of scope of work, and it should be shared with the program management team, like program manager and field manager, I think.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah, that's great. That's the way to do it. But I would recommend that during this during the sheet 1, 2, 3, the whole team is still sitting together in a group. Yeah. So even the finance or awards person will also understand about this. Even the technical advisor will also understand about this. Because later, I think to save time, you can actually have a separate meeting between the finance themselves and the program capacity. Program capacity is number 4, finance number 5. Yeah? So, but for the 1, 2, 3, please make sure that everyone sits in the same room to discuss this together. So the sheet number 3 is actually a deeper understanding about the governance structure and the capacity of an organization, a leadership, human resources, and also a little bit more about the systems and controls in the organization. This also supposed to be asked by a team leader. In this case, can be party focal point or the field managers or program lead, something like that. Yeah. There are questions about culture and organization. So I recommend everyone to read this question through first before you go and sit with partners, because these questions can be long. So before you go to partners, you try to break these questions into what is applicable, what is the most, what information you want to get from them. Yeah, because it's very broad, it's very big, but focus on what's important for you. An example, the question about number 3.2, are senior management and or board adequately informed and supportive of the partnership and the scope of work? So with this question, you can actually ask, do you actually have board? Do you actually have a senior management? How do they work? How many times do they have a meeting? Are you involved in a meeting? Have the information from the meeting been shared with the whole team? What's the decision-making process that's happening in the organization? So all these questions, you can use them and you can throw it out during that process. The guidance is actually just the one that's stated here, 3.2. That's like the guidance you want to see, but you need to break them down into a detailed questions on how you would understand if they have a supportive and informed board or senior management, just like the other questions as well. And if they don't have senior management, you can also ask, then what is work for your organization? What's the decision-making process happening in your organization? Is it everyone going on a meeting and make a decision on a specific issue, or what's happening, or what works for you? Yeah. Human resource management, a lot of organizations I've met, local and national, actually don't have a strong human resource management. But do they have system? Yeah, they may not have a human resource manager or a specific person who's managing the human resource, but who's managing the human resource then? Is it going to be under the program managers, or who's managing that? So it's important to use their terminology instead of using our terminology, because often when we're doing this sort of discussion, we always use what is normal for us, and we measure the capacity of the partners based on what is normal for us. We use that because it's comfortable for us to do that. We know we have HR managers, we know we have IT managers, we know we have finance managers, but for local organization or smaller one, they don't have all of those. But they are still working properly. But this is when you actually have to understand that there are different ways of working, and it's better to understand by asking them what works for you. What is your system? Yeah. So I encourage to, instead of asking questions based on what we understand, because it works for our organization, asking what works for them in their organization. Who's managing the staff? Who's managing if someone is injured? What is the process? What are the procedures? Are they documented? Do you have policies? Yeah. So those questions can actually reflecting on what human resource management they have. There's some guiding and prompt questions underneath that, and you can use that to support you to understand what question you need to ask for them. And then there's also scoring under the status. You just click that button, and there's an answer of no, somewhat, mostly, or yes. And if you choose no, the score will automatically be 0. If you choose somewhat, the score is going to be 1. Mostly, score 2. And yes, score 3. So this scoring system will quantify the qualify. It is what it is. We just have to just use the best of it. Yeah, it's quantify the qualify. So it makes it easier for us to make decision. So go through these questions, and then if there's any specific questions you don't understand, send me email after this, yeah? So let's move on to program capacity. So in program capacity, it's more specifically on the implementation of the program or projects that you're going to implement together with partners. This is when you actually can separate your group into two. One is focusing on program capacity. So here where I'm actually suggesting to be led by either program lead or technical advisor to be part of this, to be leading this process. And at the same time, you have financial capacity being discussed by the finance person or award person. Can be one or can be both. It'll be better if actually have both of them sitting together. Yeah. So this thematic questions is the one that actually stated in this tool is very broad. It's not specifically in example like nutrition. It's not specifically asking about the detailed nutrition programming. But this is why I think it's important to adjust these questions with what the technical advisor or program lead needs to find out more about delivering the activities together with partners. If this is cash-based programming, then you need to have someone with strong cash capacity to ask these questions. Yeah, but again, this should not disqualify partners to be our partners. This should actually be an opportunity to see what capacity strengthening activities these partners needs to have. Yeah, same thing with financial. So there's a lot of questions regarding budgeting, regarding financial management, accounting system, yeah, transaction. So this is very detailed finance/award discussion. That's why I suggest to be discussed by finance or awards together with their finance person. And then when you have the result of discussion, you also need to discuss it with the partners about the opportunity to build the capacity. In example, if they don't have proper accounting system, do they only use Excel, in example, only Excel, Microsoft Excel, then what as set of children we think that, well, we can provide you with this, I don't know, a software. Would you be interested to learn how to use the software? So we use that, you use this discussion as to identify capacity strengthening activities that the partners are needed. Yeah? So once we finish with program capacity, financial capacity, we can actually go to the sheet number 6, action plan that actually have listed risk mitigation or capacity strengthening plan. Yeah. So after you fill in every single sheet 1, 2, 3, and 4, the score from each question, like this one, this will automatically go into sheet number 6 over here under pink color they have percentage. Yeah, so there you can actually see later how many percentage is the capacity of the partners. You can actually identify from there what kind of capacity strengthening the partners need. Yeah, and you can even agree on that stage that if we are decided to work together, if everything works fine, then we need to start identify capacity strengthening actions we need to do, who's leading it, by when. Yeah, should we include them into the sub-award agreement or not? You know, those questions for commitment. So this can be done after the assessment.
Here I have.
Yes, go for it.
I like the part I like the part of the area that or the option that we included in sub-award agreement.
Yeah.
It's actually practical, but
Yeah.
I mean, who takes this decision? The decision of including it in sub-award.
That would
I
be
mean,
that should be part of the decision of the program team and the discussion among the team. So this should be a discussion together, yeah. Because if you put it in sub-award agreement, it means that we have commitment, a very strong commitment to it. We need to deliver that. Do we have resources for that? Yeah. So this is the important thing of like when you're budgeting your program, you also have to put the line of capacity strengthening for partners. Always have to be there. And I think the more it gets more and more requests now from funding, from donors, from members to request that section in the budget. Save the Children Norway, an example, in any support we give to any country, we ask a specific line, capacity strengthening for partners. And this has to be followed. So if you put it into the sub-agreement, meaning that you need to make sure that you have that in your budget for partners, yeah? But it's also important to think about putting not a person's name as responsible, but position. Because you know the natural of a big emergency, people change all the time. So to make sure that whoever people in that position will take responsible of this action that we agreed on. You can do this after you go home with this risk mitigation or capacity strengthening plan. You can do this after you go home after the assessment process. So after discussion with the partners, you go home with your team, you finalize everything from the sheet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you see the percentage here, and you discuss it as a team. Yeah, you discuss it as a team. What can you offer to partners based on what your resources, what your concern, and what the partners what the partners want. Yeah, and after you come as a team with the result of this summary, you can offer that to partners. If they agree, you can move on. If they think maybe we need different, we need this, you can discuss more. What is best for the partners? Yeah. And after that, after it's clear, there will be a summary, a recommendation. So the last page, the 7th, is recommendation. It's actually to discuss. Okay, do we have red flags? Do we have a risk on this? Do we have a what's the process here? Basically to summary. Analysis of this specific partners, specific organization, what their capacity, what the opportunity for capacity strengthening, and what are the risks, and how do we going to mitigate the risk? Yeah. The question is, if you have 10 partners that you assess, and then you have to choose 2 or 3 partners to work together. How do you then choose them? And what happened to the rest of the partners that you didn't choose? Can somebody answer me that question, please?
Okay, can we ask something?
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes the partnership assessment tool conducted before the program is approved.
Yeah.
So I don't know, some questions are related to the partner's budget and partner's amount and the amount that will be given to the partners. Those decisions sometimes is not taken yet.
Yeah.
So can we just delay that question or just keep it empty or something like that? I mean, in terms of the program, the project itself is not approved yet, and we want to just make a partnership assessment to be ready for the partnership.
Yes. With that situation, first of all, you have to tell that to the partners. Yeah, you have to say that to them openly from the beginning that currently we are still applying for the program funded by sources such as maybe UNICEF. The funding is this big, and we're going to look for potential partners to work with. So at the moment, we don't have any commitment yet, but we are trying to identify which partners would be best fit for this project working with us. That's something that you need to disclose since the beginning. And then for that questions, specifically about how much funding you need to put over there, yes, you can delay that. You can just empty it for a moment, but make sure that when you report that to the either Jason or Mohammed Al-Shama, that you said like I have identified these 3 partners. However, we actually haven't told them how much money they will be managing, but we know that the funding that we're applying is this big. So that will not put the partners disqualified because they don't know how much money they're going to manage. Just to make sure that everybody's in the loop, everybody's informed about this situation. Yeah. So back again to my question: when we have 10 potential partners, and then we need to choose 3 out of 10, how do we choose them?
Okay. First of all, I think we have to return back to their qualifications. We have 6 questions. If they fail into one of them, then those partners will be avoided. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yes.
this is the
Yes.
first.
Yeah.
And all other qualifications like program capacities and organizational capacities will be like assessing partners level
Yeah.
of partners qualification.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to answer the question?
Actually, this is the biggest question everyone has in his mind here in
Exactly.
Yemen.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I want to hear more. Whoever want to try and answer the question, please do. Yeah. Anybody else want to try? Okay. I guess I have to then tell. Okay. So in a situation like this, you will have to discuss it closely with your technical advisor and also with the finance or award person that's in the team to then rank them down 1 to 10, again, based on the qualification. So out of 10 potential partners that you assess, you need to only choose 3. So which one from these 3 are, let's say, best fit? We can say best fit to this project. They necessarily not be the best for like, instead of saying this is the best organization you work with, no, it's best fit, just specific for the project. Yeah? And then what's happened to the rest then? So when we have this disclosure from the beginning saying that we also assessing 10 other organizations for this project, but when we decided to work with 3 organizations, we will still let you know if you're not into this current project. But we will still include you in capacity strengthening activities to support your organization to be better, if you are interested. This is when we're talking about joining a response, humanitarian crisis, between now humanitarian crisis, and preparing partners for the future programming. We see 2 things at the one time. So at the same time, we're strengthening the capacity of the partners we're going to work implementing a project with, and giving opportunity for the rest of the organization to strengthen and build the capacity to be better organization. Maybe only the easiest way to do it is only through trainings. That's the easiest way to do it. Because usually this happens in many places, that you can actually use meeting room for your organization or partners organization, or even community center. We can use that as a training hall, and we can only just pay for lunch or something. So the budget is actually not that big. We can play around with the budgeting of the progress, but that can be our commitment to this organization that are not selected to be our implementing partners, is by actually supporting them to grow and become better organization. Yeah? Did everyone get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's actually a commitment from Save the Children. I actually have discussed it with Jason and Mohammed Al-Shamai as well, that there are needs to actually to support, to develop a consortium of our partners to do capacity strengthening partners to partners. Yeah. So some of them are actually already strong at the moment. Some of them are not that strong, and new partners may be very, very less strong. And then how can we make sure we have the responsibility to make sure that the civil society organization in Yemen are benefiting from our programming, not only our implementing partners, but also the bigger picture. To do it, we can actually develop together with our current partners a consortium, a capacity strengthening consortium for civil society organization. Yeah, partners to partners capacity strengthening. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be our next discussion. But at the moment, our discussion about partnership assessment tools is finished. Yay! Is everyone clear about that? Is everyone clear about that?
Please, I would like to add one thing, please.
Go for it. Yes.
Yes, to make it easier as well for this assessment,
Yeah.
we develop like a list for pre-list. We send it to the partner.
Yep.
Contain and conclude it from all this from this assessment.
Yeah.
Like we ask them for, please provide us with be ready with your bank statement.
Yes.
Please be ready with your organization.
Yes.
Please be ready. Yeah, and I have it in Arabic. I can share it, but it's not in English. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be sorry. I am the one who should be sorry because I don't understand Arabic. I should be understand Arabic. I am sorry, but you shouldn't be sorry. I think it's important to have it in your language, in Arabic. It's very important because you're the one who's managing the partners. You're the one who's dealing with the partners. It's important to have Arabic, but for reporting to donors, I think we need to have the translation to English. It doesn't have to be very thorough, but at least it can reflect what has been agreed in Arabic to English. I think it's still important to translate it to bilingual English and Arabic. Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to do that in the next page, inshallah.
Yeah.
But I send it now. To all of you just for review. If there is anything that can be added, will be very helpful for us.
Okay, great. So any other question before I've already taken 5 minutes extra from 30 minutes extra, so I feel bad now. But is there any other questions?
No, I think, but I want to add I prefer myself, and through my experience in partnership assessment, that we share the due diligence form, which Muhammad Al-Akhbari said, that's containing the folders and files and documents that should be shared with us before the assessment.
Yes,
so
I
we
agree.
should share the due diligence form before 2 days or something.
Yeah.
Just to know. Just to get the documents and ensure that the documents are there with the partners.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. It will save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you, Wawan.
Thank
This
you.
was was great. This was actually great, and me, myself, and the other team, I think we get benefit of that. And
Thank
you
you.
answer the big question, which is the selection criteria. This should be discussed with the program operation team, with the technical advisor.
Yeah.
And this was a big question. And everyone working in partnership.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I'm glad it's useful.
Yeah, thank you. And also for the partnership assessment orientation, this was useful. Me, myself, I wasn't paying that much attention to the action point and recommendation part. So from now on, I will.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I will send the file, the module A file about the bigger picture of how to deal with partnership. I will send to everyone that part of this discussion today. And then if there's any question, send me email. You know my email address. Send me email. Go to detailed question, and I will answer. I will collect them all into one page, and then I will answer all the question and send it to everyone again, so everyone can understand what is the question from one person to another person. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. And then if you still want to be part
Thank you very much.
if you still want to be part of the next week training, please just join. Next Monday, there's another one. Exactly the same training like I'm doing now. If you need more clarification, just join. The more, the merrier. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day, my team. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.